Hello. You have tuned in to the right podcast. This is Teacher Sess. Like I always tell you, I don't have the answers. Now, before you press the stop button, take a moment to hear me out, okay? We're going to spend the next year exploring how to break the cycle, create generational wealth, create the home you desire, and live, of course, your best life. The catch, these are the end goals, and we're going to spend the next year accomplishing them. You are tuned into the Teacher Sess podcast. Yes, you are listening to the Teacher Sess podcast. Take a guess. Yeah, Sess. I'm happy to be here. It is great to be back on the podcast digital waves. I don't know how to refer to it as. Yeah, digital waves. Anyway, I am glad you are here. Take a moment if you have not done so already to like, rate, and subscribe. I'm getting this week's episode out a little late. I am tardy to the podcast weekly update party, but it's all to the good. This week has just been a very busy week. I think 2 weeks back when I was sick from my COVID vaccination, I talked about it previously, I wasn't able to, record my weekly show, and it just messed up my whole cycle of things. But now I am back. So like I said, it would be fantastically fabulous if you like, rate, and subscribe to the show. And let's go ahead and just jump into it for this week. So the number one topic of the week on internet land is definitely the $1,400 stimulus check for those who qualify. And I say that because it's funny in internet land. There's so many people who all of a sudden, all the people getting the stimulus check, too bad I'm not. Like, okay, that's wonderful that you make so much money. That what I think the threshold is for a married couple, $150,000, I believe. And I'm saying that number off the top of my head, so I could be incorrect. But the point is, if you make more than 150, and trust me, I do know people. I think many of us, my listeners, know people who make more as a married couple than $150,000 per year. Great. Fantastic. In fact, that's the end goal, to be quite honest. I would love to make that much money, and that is a goal. I'm confident I can, sooner than later, hopefully, but keeping it funky in the year 2021, not making that, not yet at least. So thus, we're all looking out for the Stimmy. I hear it's trending on Twitter this weekend. As far as all the fantastically ghetto fabulous things you can do with your Stimmy money. We're joking around these parts. The Fisherman's Wharf is off the chain. I would not venture out there if you paid me right now, but I'm hearing that Stimmy money is hitting those direct deposit accounts, and I can only imagine the shenanigans that your cousins are getting into. Notice I didn't say you. Because you, my friend, have a plan for the money. That's why you listen to the Teacher Sess podcast. So, for example, the latest plan I'm hearing for the money. Oh, I don't know if I've mentioned before I move on, or maybe I did mention. I can't remember if I mentioned this or not. Finally got the kids' account open. I mentioned before I had wanted for the longest time to open up a custodial stock account from my kids. Finally got it done via Fidelity. Super simple process. In fact, it was so simple, it made me be a little annoyed with myself with why didn't I do this sooner? It wasn't that much complication to it, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, we opened their custodial stock account, and the very first purchase was the stock of Roblox, or I should say we did a limited order because it is my, with my 1 year knowledge of the stock market, I feel, in my professional opinion, that it was scheduled the IPO was scheduled to open a single share at $45. And if I'm saying this wrong, like I said, my 1 year of studying stocks, but it ended up opening at $65 or 64, something to that effect. Now, at one point, it was up to 74. I believe right on Friday it was in the 71, 69 range. I'm waiting for it to fall down to 59. I'll give it a couple of weeks. If it doesn't fall that low, then I'll bump it up. but I'm not, and so like I said, it's going to be a limited order. When it does happen, it'll just scoop it up and, that'll be that, but I'm also looking at, index funds for the kids for myself. What am I talking about? I have a new YouTube discovery, new to me, not new on YouTube, but I've really fallen hard for, investing with Rose, and she gives a lot of, fantastic tidbits. I watch enough of her videos to get her bio. She was a, Wall Street insider or trader or financer or whatever the word you want to call it. And she quit to do her own thing, respect. And so she gives plenty of great advice on finances, budgeting, debt, blah, 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 skip. If you listen to the show, you know what I'm talking about. So going back to Financing with Rose, she was explaining how to use, index funds via Fidelity to grow your wealth. It was a question I had, speaking of, I didn't want to say the name, but I'm going to say it, Dave Ramsey, which reminded me of another rant I'm going to say later on to the show. But anyway, he kind of put an idea in my head, and I know I said I wasn't going to listen to Dave Ramsey, but I've mentioned it before. He irritates me so much. I kind of I want to listen so I can be irritated. He gets under my skin, and listening to him is just you're annoying me, but I'm still listening because you just annoy me. But anyway, I was saying he put in an idea about how he, gets money for his real estate ventures by investing it in index funds. It was really weird and exotic when this woman called up and mentioned how she had a fear of putting her money, in the bank after, I think it was $300,000, whatever the amount is, that, they stopped insuring your money at a certain amount with the whole bank insurance thing. And, he was like, I don't do that, and he got on his soapbox about how all of my real estate money I go and put in index funds, and that's the way I do it, and it should be that way, how he is. So I was like, okay, even though you irritate me, never thought about that. Now, of course, you can hear by the sound quality of my podcast, I don't have that much money to like Dave Ramsey, and I'm working on that, by the way. I'm just off on a tangent. Say the sound quality, I know, it irritates me. It irritates me because I went to college for this, as far as, editing and all that other stuff. But everything I learned was on old school analog, equipment and digital equipment. Oh my God. I promise over the summer I'm going to work on better editing, or maybe I'll have enough money to pay somebody. Cause at one point, a couple years back, I did, and I was paying, an editor to just edit, but then I'm like, why am I paying this person? I feel editing is pretty simple for my show. Anyway, going back into the point regarding, using a certain amount of money, putting in ETFs to grow your money. Cause that's my new kick right now. It's like, okay, how do I grow my money? The pieces to the puzzle of wealth are coming together in my mind. And I'm like, okay, just saving is not good enough. I get that. Okay, I got you. So take your money out of your regular account and put it in a high yield savings account. What's a high yield savings account? Simply, from what I discovered, most of them are online, but it is a regulated and, regular bank, but the catch is it's online. So maybe because it's online, I don't know, but the interest rate in the savings, accounts are higher than a typical bank. There's one, T-Mobile has a super high interest savings account, but the catch is you have to be a T-Mobile customer, and I'm not, so it's nice to know, but now. So I go with Ally. Ally. I felt like I was just blah. Ally. I go with Ally. Ally is cool. I like Ally. They have a regular savings and a money market account and probably a whole bunch of other things that I'm not familiar with. So I'm pretty happy with Ally. I like the fact that I can transfer my money over online. Unfortunately, they don't have a brick and mortar bank, but it is what it is. And I'm a pretty happy camper thus far. So I'm like, well, how do I grow my money? You can grow it in the stock market, but I'm not Boo Boo the Fool. I already know that's not a good idea, because as I've learned in my exploration with stocks, do not invest more than you can afford to lose. So therefore, I can't afford to lose more than the amount that I have in there currently. but I've started to regularly invest on a weekly basis. And I feel like, with that goes a lifestyle change, because now I'm living below my means, with the exception of one thing that I do regularly for myself. So let me give you an example. Below your means. I'm going to confess. I buy clothes that are very, very, when I say cheap, I don't mean like low quality. I'm a thrifter. I go to thrift shops only for myself. Like my kids always get brand new clothes, Old Navy, Kohl's, etc. I have discovered that you can buy 1,000,000 items at a thrift store and pay like literally $30, $40. For example, Martin Luther King weekend, go in there because I'm working from home. I'm looking for like casual, comfortable clothes. I bought like a mixture of pants, probably equal number of pants and shirts. And it was a grand total of 12 items, and I spent $30, under $30 for 12 items of clothes. I think that's pretty good. So that averages maybe over $2 and some change for each item. However, I will not lie. There are certain things I don't thrift. Pretty much the only thing I will buy at a thrift store are like shirts and tops and stuff. I don't buy used shoes. I'm just superstitious about that, honestly. Nothing wrong with used shoes. I'm just personal superstition. Don't buy swimsuits or undergear. That's just nasty. I'm not doing that. So I mix that with things I do buy new, like I did buy a whole new, on sale, waited for the sale, Victoria's Secret, clothes, you get the drift. And here's the only real spending I've done as of late. I have bought a couple pairs of new tennis shoes and hiking boots, one pair of hiking boots. I originally wanted to get a pair of Timberland hiking boots because on the low, I'm not a New Yorker, but I love Timberlands. And I had a pair of Timberlands. It was the longest pair of shoes I ever owned in my life. And I had them from the time I was 17 up until I was pregnant with my twins. And I had to get rid of them because A, they looked horrible, and B, my foot, unfortunately, the size went up when I was pregnant. But the point is, I firmly believe Timberland, and you can you can shoot me some money for this free endorsement, that Timberland is a high quality product and their shoes are really made to last, right? So with the intention of buying a pair of Timberland boots, I went on DSW with my $5 off coupon and all the other coupons that I could Google, or promo codes, I should say. And I was able to, even though I really wanted a pair of Timberlands, I ended up getting some generic, like lower quality priced shoe, hiking boot, and then 2 pairs of, okay, I'm not going to lie, I have an affinity for Brooks running shoes. And even with that, for me, they're kind of pricey. So I always get the ones that are on sale, the low priced ones. And I wear the men's size because I feel the men's size are cheaper than the women's. So it's not so much the shoes I want with Brooks. It's like, okay, what's in my budget? And there's that. But I guess they're made to last. I wear them all the time. I got 2 pairs. So that was like my big thrill spin lately. Other than that, all the money I've been making, I've mentioned before, I shop at discounted grocery stores, meaning like Aldi, if you have Aldi in your area, Lidl, or is it Lidl? I don't know how to pronounce this store. Anyway, I like them though. And, other discounted grocery stores. I do not shop at Whole Paycheck, aka Whole Foods. I mean, I used to go there to get random, but I used to go there to buy a bag of arugula because I absolutely love arugula. But then I found out you can buy it at Aldi mixed with something else. But also, that was really my only favorite item at Whole Foods, because Whole Foods, and before COVID, of course, when they had the food bar up, they have some good food bar items, but So going back to lowering your lifestyle, why do I do this? Do I do it because I'm cheap? Yeah, actually I am. But also I do it because I'm hardcore about investing. I definitely feel like I have to make up for lost time. Oh my God, don't even get me started on that. I kind of, equate this to like when somebody becomes a Christian and they're just like really holy roller. That's how I feel about financing. I'm like, other than I hope I don't believe I'm shoving it down people's throats. Hopefully I'm not. But on the flip side, it's like, oh man, I've been awakened, and I'm woke in regards to finances. And now I see the evils of my old ways. I just saw a rant on Instagram where this man was talking about, you're like trying to impress people who don't really care about, you and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So going back to the point, living below my means, I realized I just, went and spent money. That sounds weird. Spent some money on shoes and clothes. We'll count the clothes, even though I felt they were still at $30. My other like waste of money as of late has been art. But even that, when I say I waste money, that means I'm spending money that I budgeted for, but I really could do without and invest. So I went and got some art on iCanvas.com, who I absolutely adore. I thought the price was decent because it was like an extreme sale. They were selling things like 80% off or something to that extent. And then I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, Etsy. Just some random little knickknacks I saw on Etsy. But still, that's it. And then I put a pause to the cost because I feel like where I've spent money, I'm, doing good with not eating out. Even on the days where I traditionally would eat out, aka Friday, Saturday. Like a typical Friday, I cook my own food. A typical Saturday, I cook my own food. Even today, I'm kind of on the fence. Like I'm thinking like I might go get something carry out, but then again, I might not because I have some chicken marinating in my fridge as I speak, but I was going to cook that Sunday. So, it's kind of like this is where I'm saving a lot of money. I was saving a lot of money working from home, but that situation has changed. So I will be spending money on gas again. And I think that's pretty much it. The temptation to spend money, of course, is there this summer because I love my vacations and I am overdue for a vacation. So that I'm going to figure out what to do for that one. When I do, I'll get to you. Moving on. So within that stimulus package, in the very, very middle, and I'm making that up. It's not in the middle, but hidden away in page 398. I'm kidding. It's not there, but there is something that is benefiting or should benefit the parents out there who are listeners. And I imagine there are a lot of parents. I'm super excited because the previous occupant of the White House, I am not a tax specialist, but it was explained to me that the previous occupant did some finagling where the tax credit I used to get for having my kids go to daycare was switched around, and it would seem like you were getting more tax money previously, but you aren't, because the story I was told was you're getting the money, lesser taxes taken out of your paychecks, but you end up paying for. I don't get it. Okay, let me stop pretending. I just knew something was up. Before the previous occupant, I would always have a nice little tax refund. The past couple years, I haven't. Kind of pissed off about it. So it is, to my understanding, as a non-accounting person, non-tax, manager, whatever, that the situation has changed, and now, taxes, where was I going with this? Oh yeah, there is a child tax credit embedded somewhere in the stimulus, and I'm just going to read this. I hate to read things, but it's from Forbes, which I believe to be a reputable source. And it says the key facts of the tax stimulus credit are: the child tax credit for the 2021 tax year will provide parents with a $3,000 credit for every child aged 6 to 17, and a $3,600 credit for every child under the age of 6, which was up from $2,000 per dependent child up to age 16. So wow, that's weird, because if your kid was 7, anyway. The bill would also make the credit fully refundable, meaning that many low-income families that would have missed out on the full benefits before because they didn't earn enough taxes to qualify will now be eligible to receive it. Half of the credit is slated to be sent out in a series of advance payments of $250 or $300. How do you know which one you're going to get? Anyway, between July and December, it is not yet clear how often these payments will be sent. I'm laughing because I didn't even read that part. I'm like, well, how do you know which one? And families will need to claim the remainder of the credit on their 2021 tax returns next spring. So I'm interpreting this, and this is just me as a person who went to college and graduated, but knows nothing about taxes, that you're supposed to get a monthly payment, but you do have to claim it on your taxes, I'm assuming, and then up until December, and then moving forward to 2021, the rest will be a difference on your taxes. So I guess that would account for, I don't know. I'm thinking it would account for January until June. And then from July to December, it sounds like they're sending you a check. I guess, I don't know. Anyway, just like stimulus checks, eligibility for the enhanced child tax credit will be based on income. The IRS will use your 2020 or 2019 tax information to determine eligibility. And high earning families ineligible for the expanded credit will still be able to claim the old $2,000 credit, which phases out after income exceeds $200,000 for single filers and $400,000 for joint filers. Okay. So, yeah. So with this information, I have questions and I was saying them aloud, but my number one question is, like I said when I was reading it, which one determines, I'm assuming you're getting a monthly payment until, the end of the year. That would be December. When you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So I really don't know if that's what they were trying to say or not. And then, what was the other thing that I had a question about? I don't know. That was the main one. But, thinking too, it's kind of funny, but it's not funny. All this stimulus money, because I'm keeping it funky. Of course I get stimulus. I don't make over, what do they say, $200,000, whatever the amount is, I don't make over that. I make a decent income, but not over it. And last year when I filed my 2019 taxes, why did my accountant put the wrong banking account number on IRS? And the part that kind of pissed me off, honestly, I gave him the right number because I don't play when it comes to money. So when I gave him the number, I double checked to make sure, probably triple checked knowing me, to make sure the number was right. And it was. So then when I get the IRS payment back, the IRS statement back, or whatever you want to call it, filing, I look and the number that he put in was wrong. So now, every single time I get a check from the IRS, they have to mail it, and it takes forever. And it's like, I kind of want to use this guy again because he did a really good job, but I'm kind of pissed that he put in the wrong number, and now I have to wait extra long anytime I get stimulus money. I'm leaning towards using him again, but I probably will let him know, because I did not let him know because I couldn't figure out what was wrong at first. That, dude, you put in the wrong number for my banking account. I'm 99.9% sure it was you, because I always double check when I do things like that, because I don't play about my money. And now I have to wait forever to get any kind of money back because they mail it, and as we know, U.S. Postal Service is trifling right now, and they take extra long. Yeah, so there's that. And I am debating about, okay, last topic. Because I feel like I talk about this all the time, but there's some new developments in my saga. And the number one person I love to hate, Mr. Dave Ramsey. And I originally wasn't even going to talk about this, but I'm like, okay. So if you follow Dave Ramsey, you know he has a host of characters that are his personalities. And one of the personalities got fired this week. They won't call it fired, but he got fired because he went against his character clause in the Ramsey Solutions cast of characters. I don't know what you want to call it. But he got fired for basically cheating on his ex-wife. She brought it up in 2018, and therefore, after the woman, there was a woman who is suing rightfully, in my opinion, suing Ramsey's organization because she was fired for being a unwed pregnant mother, which I said that with a little laugh, because in the year 2021, who in the hell cares? Like, really? Like, that's a thing now, but because he takes great pride in running a Christian organization, I guess, he fired a woman for being pregnant and not married. And of course, she was like, what about your homie? Like, isn't he cheating on his wife? Why is he still working? And that was the beginning of the end for Mr. Chris Hogan. Yeah. So he had the most uplifting yet sad, like, goodbye. It was like, 45 seconds, 50-second, goodbye, like, message, and they scrubbed him from all their social media accounts. And I am 99.9% sure in his severance package that he had a clause that says he cannot speak negatively on Dave Ramsey, because that was a really, like, friendly, like, it's time for me to go, like video, and it was like dark. He was wearing a black shirt. The optics were like on point. Dark black shirt, black background for the black guy who was, told to leave because he was messing around on Miss Hogan. That's between him and her. Although it was pretty bad, because I read the article and they were saying like he had, had an affair with one of her relatives. I was like, for real? Ooh. Then on top of that, during the divorce process, he was having an affair with somebody in the Ramsey organization. I'm like, well, did they get fired too? Okay. It was just a mess, an absolute mess, And so, the video was the video. And I guess he's going to continue. Maybe he has a no competition clause. I don't know. I don't know what he plans on doing. He wrote the book Everyday Millionaires, which is a very interesting title. When I did not see this for myself, and I hate to sound like this is turning into a gossip podcast, but it is what it is. I was told that one of his children were sick, which is the most, that's not funny at all. But during the process of the child being sick, he had a GoFundMe. And I was like, but you're the author of Everyday Millionaire. Okay. So I was a little weirded out from what I was told that he had the GoFundMe. But full transparency, I did not see the GoFundMe myself. So I'm just going off of hearsay, what I was heard. But going back to Chris Hogan, I'm like, he was, to be honest, out of all the Ramsey personalities, the only one I like is Anthony O'Neill. And if I was Anthony O'Neill, hopefully he's smarter than I hope. And he sees the writing on the wall and he throws Dave the deuces. I think he can do so much better on his own. I show his videos to my class when I can. They seem to really like him. I'm like, dude, and I teach at a very, like multi-ethnic, multiracial school. And I'm like, dude, you need to throw the deuces up and get out. If they like you, you can do fine on your own. So I don't know why he's still under the thumb of Dave Ramsey, referral to Anthony O'Neill. Because I even sit back and I'm like, yeah, he's all right. As much as I don't like Dave Ramsey, Anthony O'Neill is very tolerable. Yeah, he'll say things every now and then. I'm like, that's stupid. But, for the most part, he's cool. So get out. Like, for real. Get out now. Leave. Go. Bye. Go. So that is my advice, my unsolicited advice to Anthony O'Neill. So we've made it. This has been the first approximately 30-minute episode in a very long time, and I'm glad to do that. So this is what I need from you: to keep listening every week, to follow me on my social media. I see that I am getting new followers on my very empty Instagram, my Facebook, and also, of course, I have a private Facebook group that wouldn't tell you about it because it would be not private if I did, but that's cool as well. It's not really aligned. It is aligned with the show, but it's not. And what else? I think that's about it. This is a good time to wish you all a fantabulous, yes, I made that up, week, and I will catch you next time. Bye, everybody.